Hello, my friends, my family, and esteemed colleagues. I was asked again now a question about a thing that happens to some people, and this is they are drinking plasma and they do not see that they urinate enough. So the question is, what happens with all this plasma that is coming into the body? The protocol as it's written, it's general base protocol. Less toxic you are or more hydrated you are, the symptoms are going to be different, weaker. Sometimes people do not see any symptoms. Well, this is very rare. Maybe 2 clients so far I had, and both of them young. They did not feel any particular symptom. Now, I mentioned that when you start drinking plasma, and this is why you should start drinking not by 1 glass, but right away liter of plasma in the morning, usually quite rapidly you achieve the level of plasma in the body sufficient to trigger the cleanse within a day or 2, the most 3 days. But occasionally it happens that people are drinking this plasma for a week and no diarrhea, and they don't even feel any significant increase of urine production. So what happens? Where is this water going? The plasma, water and minerals. Well, this is sign, if this happens, this is sign of severe dehydration of the body. Body is simply soaking in the water, the minerals, and does not want to let it go. Now, in these cases, inflammation, more like a water retention, is more likely to occur, because lower you are on plasma in the body, obviously you have not been cleansing for a while because there is not water available. So you are extremely toxic. And now as you are loading with plasma, as I said before, or maybe written in articles, I don't know, remember where it went, but if you have a dirty river, if your blood is dirty, and now the water level in the river start diminishing, well, the sides of the river, the beaches, they are getting dirty. All the garbage is left around. In the body, it is left in peripheral tissue, because the peripheral tissue is going to start losing water first. Just look at old people. If, older they get, I'm talking about old, let's say 90, 100, 110, well, they are all very deeply wrinkled, usually skinny and wrinkled, because they are extremely dehydrated. They are like prunes. Now, to hydrate, to bring the skin back, you listen to this false science of fake trust, biotrust, and their bogus products that they are selling. They score on collagen. They say, oh, collagen, oh yeah, we need it because you see, you start looking old because you don't produce collagen. And this is making you wrinkled, and this is making you look like prune. This is a fake science. It's not problem with collagen, it is problem with lack of plasma. So the collagen dries up. What happens with protein when it dries up? It becomes fibrous. When we have a fiber cirrhosis in organs, that's a lack of plasma. So this is what makes the wrinkles. Not lack of collagen, lack of plasma in a collagen. You don't need a collagen, you need plasma, you need to hydrate. So as you start absorbing plasma, well, it goes in a tissue, and tissue is like a dry sponge, and start getting fuller and fuller and fuller. You may be gaining weight. You are not gaining weight because you are getting fat. You're gaining weight because you are hydrating. You are soaking the water. Water is staying in your tissue. It makes you heavier. Now, as the river level of water increases, well, it floods again all the area where the garbage was left. So now all the garbage goes back into the river, into the bloodstream, making it even more toxic than it was when it was dehydrated. But again, keep in mind that the body is an electronic robot. It's created with sensors, run through programs, switches, and until the plasma level of circulating blood and plasma does not hit the sensor, it means the float, it will not trigger cleansing. Primary, secondary, or tertiary. So it may happen that you are not urinating because there is still not enough plasma. It is everywhere else, but not in a flow, not in the river, not in your arteries and veins. It is soaking in the tissue. This is why I recommend to start drinking big amounts of plasma. But now what happens, as you are loading, now this plasma that is there is also very toxic. And this robot is automatically programmed that if it cannot detoxify because there is not enough plasma, then the toxins are being pushed into periphery. So even now as you are hydrating, but you still don't have enough level of plasma in circulation. So the toxins are not really allowed to go into the mainstream. They are being pushed. They are remaining in your kidneys, like a kidney stones, for example. This is crystallized uric acid, usually connected to some minerals as well. Because at the same time, because of the stupid diet, we are demineralizing our body. We are going into osteopenias. calcium is not being possible to sediment. So now we have a lot of calcium in the blood. It cannot be taken out because there is not enough plasma, not enough water to cleanse it. So it's being pushed, and it is part of formation of the stones. Now people say, well, I have a kidney stone. I don't know if I should drink plasma because bringing more minerals are going to make stones bigger. Well, this is a wrong thinking, because you are bringing the minerals in a form of plasma with so you can hold the liquid. And when you raise the liquid, then you can go and take down the garbage. You can take it out and start melting those stones. So things, if you look at things with what I call simple mind, child perspective, then things look different. And since we as doctors are being brainwashed, and we basically retain the child mentality because we simply don't know the truth, so we project the same mentality to our patients. And all of a sudden, everybody is afraid of salt. Everybody is afraid of too much water. You have a kidney problems, and doctor says, "Oh, less water. You cannot urinate it, so drink less until you dry down." My friend, he doesn't trust anything I say, so he's with mainstream medicine, and his kidneys, now he cannot urinate. He drinks, but he doesn't urinate. What's happening with this? Well, since he cannot cleanse, he has not enough plasma in the body. So he cannot cleanse through urine because it's wasting too much water. He cannot even cleanse through diarrhea because even mucus is too much water. So he can only cleanse through dialysis and the skin. And that's how he is living. And even when he drinks some water, he doesn't urinate. Stop urinating, because that's how low plasma levels in his body are. Now, if he would wake up finally and give it a shot and start following the self-healers protocol and start hydrating, well, what would happen? Again, urination would take a while before it starts, because first the body will be soaking all this plasma in because it's dry. Like a dry sponge, you put it in water, it soaks in. I have a client in Serbia on dialysis. Doctors forbid him to drink more than, 2 glasses of water a day. And now he's starting drinking plasma. And problem, goes to dialysis, and doctor says, well, I'm only going to take out 4 liters of plasma. You are drinking too much. I'm afraid to take more plasma out of you through dialysis. Well, this is the mentality of the screwed up doctors. They don't understand the body. How can it cleanse? How can kidneys start working if you keep them dry, if you keep the body dry? Again, sensors, switches, and programs. If you have a gas tank empty, well, the engine will not run. And you put some fuel in there, well, it needs to fill the carburetor first. If it doesn't fill, or injector pump, if it doesn't fill it, it still will not run until the level rises and everything can start working. Well, the same is with the body. It's a freaking robot. So we have to understand When you start protocol, if you have chronic problems, or simply if you are elderly, I mean 50 and up, ask for guidance. It will be much easier on you. Yeah, I ask for money because I have to live from something, but I cannot refuse to help. So just tell me, look, I need your help, but I cannot afford to pay anything, so I'll help you the same. Only if I start helping everybody without being paid back, then how can I live? From what? But I will never ever refuse to help, money or no money. So be guided. You'll make less errors, you'll have less problems, especially during the beginning phases. The first month or month and a half until the cellular cleansing is well underway and symptoms are settled, no surprises, then you can continue by yourself. Oh, you can try by yourself, but as soon as something happens, some symptom, don't try to interpret it. Ask. Tell me what is going on. Write me email, so I can give you a proper answer. Will be most likely closer to the truth than you can come up with. So we have to understand that, again, the body is a robot, and to run properly, it needs, according to the program that was implanted, it needs plasma and it needs calories. Calories come through food, and plasma, you have to drink it. You are not going to get minerals by chewing on a freaking grass. Minerals come through salts. Salts we can get when we eat animals. When we eat animal meat, it's full of minerals. Plants will have minerals if they are in mineralized soil. But today's everything is grown hydrophonically. No minerals. So when there are no minerals, there is no flavor. Smell any fruit, there is no flavor, there is no smell, there is no taste to it, because there are no minerals. And even when there are minerals, you get very small amount of minerals from plant. This is why herbivores always supplement salt. Carnivores don't have to, because animal cannot survive without minerals. So it's always mineralized. Plant can survive without minerals. So we gotta start observing and thinking. Use this brain. Observe, think. You know that you have enough water, plasma, in your system, and your body does not have to worry about saving it, and it can cleanse when you achieve your diarrhea. So if you are drinking a lot of plasma and now you are starting to feel puffy because now the tissue is soaking in the plasma, but still there is not enough in circulation. But you start feeling puffy, swollen. Since there is not enough water in circulation, the cleansing starts going through the skin, not to waste water. So even though you are getting puffy, you are getting red, and now you are starting to sweat and you are starting to get a little itchiness in the skin. Remember, itchiness is a sign of increased pressure in the tissue, usually inflammation, water retention. And if this pressure continues increasing, then the itchiness starts turning into pain. And that's what's causing pain in the body. Pressure on sensory nerves. Light pressure causes itchiness. As pressure increases, itchiness turns into pain. So, if you start having itchy skin, well, you don't have enough plasma in the circulation, but you feel puffy. You feel you are retaining water, so you are afraid. Well, we can now force the body into cleansing by poisoning it, but without actually poisoning it. So we are not using medicinal poisonous stuff, but if you want now to force the body to start eliminating this liquid, you increase the level of minerals way over the limit, so the body is forced into elimination. You are not poisoning it, it's not toxic, but it is saturation of minerals. So instead of taking 1 teaspoon of sea salt in the water, especially in the morning for the plasma, put 2 teaspoons for 1 liter. So increasing the density of the minerals. You are increasing the density of minerals in your circulation, triggering the switches. The body has to get rid of it. And it will create diuretic effect. And you may go and urinate, or better yet, you go into diarrhea. This way you shoot out bigger amount of toxins. So if you're a little worried about retention and would want to force toxins out, instead of, let's say, taking diuretic or taking, because they are all toxins, they are working through poisonous effect, closing your cells, well, increased level of minerals will not close your cells because it's not toxic, but is a surplus that needs elimination. So it will be triggering also diuretic effect and shooting out the surplus. Still, let's say if you take this a higher quantity of salt, I recommend in the morning to provoke the diarrhea, to get the liquids out, but then during the day try to go down to 1 teaspoon of salt, unless you decide, well, I want more liquid out. Well, then continue, but not too long, because again, your body needs this plasma. Don't force it out. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Well, I hope that this makes some clarity, because everybody, and I mean everybody, that has a chronic health issues is dehydrated, is low on plasma. How low? Well, drinking plasma will tell you how much plasma you need. Again, some people need to drink 8 liters of plasma a day to be able to satisfy the body mechanism to work. And how do we know that the body mechanism is satisfied, that this is the amount of plasma that is needed. Well, the only thing that will make you constipated or make your feces hard is a lack of plasma in the body. So the system is geared to soak all the possible liquid out of your feces and push it back into blood circulation, which is making your excrement hard, compact, and gives you constipation. Forget about fiber. This is all bullshit. Fiber contributes to constipation. Unless it's a toxic, inflames the colon, so absorption is blocked, and this is what you achieve by using stool softeners. But natural way, without poisons, well, plasma. And this is the correct way, because it tells you how much plasma your body needs. If you are drinking 6 liters of plasma and you still have hard stool, or there are days without stool, you increase to 7 liters of plasma. If this doesn't change, 8 liters, 9, 10 liters, eventually you are going to come up with diarrhea. Then maintain it there for a couple of days and then take 1 liter off and see what happens. If everything is fine and still you have diarrhea, take another liter off until you come to either pasty stool or diarrhea. Diarrhea means that you are cleansing, that is very toxic. Pasty stool means that you have enough plasma and you are less toxic, so there is not too much toxic mucus coming out. Toxic mucus makes your intestine to swell, to inflame. An inflamed intestine doesn't absorb water. Water doesn't penetrate. It's inflamed, pressurized, doesn't go. And water remains in your intestines, liquefies your feces, and you get your diarrhea. So you can achieve the inflammation of your colon by eating toxic stuff or through elimination of toxic stuff through mucosal tissue. So you create mucus, toxic mucus, which inflames your intestine, inhibit the absorption of plasma, gives you diarrhea, and you cleanse it out. After that, when the toxin is out, intestine deflames and starts absorbing. This is why it is important to do the morning flush. So you cleanse beautifully, toxins are out, and now as you are drinking, now you are absorbing and hydrating and hydrating. Well, that's the principle of it. Welcome to True Science. And have a courage to follow it. Yes, it could be quite uncomfortable, but the worst thing is the fear, because this information that you are listening to now is completely contrary to anything we have been told in medical school by science. Science is so corrupt. It's in the hands of cabal. So the popular science is worth nothing. It's misinformation. Thank you for listening. Any questions, you shoot, and I'll try to explain it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having courage. Love you all.